I've seen, what I've been observing is there's a lot of talented animators in Indonesia, but they're rarely commercialized, or if they are,
Ah,
it's too independent of their own.
yes, 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 yes.
Is there I wonder if there's a way that these excellent animations can be more commercialized. I suddenly became aware of my own heritage, and
Ah,
I was very aware that
interesting.
people in the US struggled with, they still struggle with racism or issues. But what encourages me that a lot of animations right now are tackling those issues.
Okay, hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the latest episode of TTYL, Talk to You Literature. Ya. Wah, tidak disangka sekarang sudah sampai ke episode 8. Well, in this episode, we're going to talk further about animation. Nah, kebetulan kali ini saya ditemani oleh seorang teman yang memang kuliahnya itu di bidang atau majoring in animation studies. Mungkin tanpa berlama-lama, I think I will just let her introduce herself. Then I have Amanda here. How are you, Amanda?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, so I was an animation major and I studied in Rhode Island School of Design for 4 years, from 2011 to 2015. And I did major in animation.
Okay. I think we'll just get started lah. The very first question would be very cliche. I ask this question to all of my guests, but I always want to know why this major, Amanda? Among all film studies, kayaknya kan banyak ya, but why animation in particular way?
Actually, funny story. When I went to college, that was not my first choice.
Oh.
But I have, yes. I knew I wanted to do art. Like, I consider myself an artist, and I was planning to major in illustration, but I also love photography. But me, because I like to try a lot of mediums, I like to experiment with everything, I felt that animation gave me the freedom to try and express anything that I want that illustration or photography alone could not. So in animation itself, I concentrated in stop motion, which it merges illustration and photography. So that's why I took animation.
I see. Okay. So for your information ya, for the audience information ya, Amanda ini selain apa ya, berkarir tadinya di bidang animasi, juga beliau adalah seorang fotografer yang handal, professional photographer, and also apa ya bilangnya, masa painter? I don't think that would be the right word, but I know you did paint, right? Jadi bilangnya apa tuh?
More like digital illustration.
A digital illustrator berarti ya. And wow, karyanya tuh keren-keren. You should check her Instagram page. Dan di situ ada banyak contoh karya-karya yang Amanda udah kerjain. Nah, regarding animation stuff ya. I would like to ask this way. What is the project that you have been doing regarding animation film?
So as I said earlier, I concentrated in stop motion. That's just the animation discipline I chose to do. It's not drawn, it's not CG, but it involves real puppets. So I actually want to show you a few seconds of my animation, if I can just share screen. This was my degree project that I did for my senior year. Okay, wait, nanti cut aja. Sebentar, gue mau ngomongin what the animation is about, briefly.
Please do.
Okay. So
while waiting for the screen to be appeared, silakan Amanda.
Yeah, so before we watch these few seconds, my degree project was about a father who was grieving for his daughter who passed away, and I was visually exploring how somebody processed his emotions during that time. So let me share screen.
Okay, so I think the most common stop motion project that for us Indonesian audience know, perhaps like Shaun the Sheep, which was aired on the national TV gitu kan. But before you took the animation study itself, were you aware that cartoons is actually animation came in a lot in so many varied version gitu? Because I think the animation that we know perhaps just like from Disney, you know, like Hanna-Barbera, like Scooby-Doo, Tom and Jerry, things like that. But before you take the animation study, were you aware that actually it has a lot of form and kinds?
No, I did not. I really did not. I knew Shaun the Sheep, but that even claymation, because I was still small when I watched it, I did not think it was, I thought it was 3D until somebody told me it was made out of clay, and I didn't know how they were made. So yeah, like a lot of people, I grew up watching Disney, Pixar, and all I knew was 2D animation, you know, the classic Disney's with the princess.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all I knew, and also what Pixar has been doing. So when I was in college, I did not know that there were so many types of animation. And stop motion, the one I just showed, is only one thing. In stop motion itself, there's a whole other discipline.
I see.
Yeah.
Bisa dibagi apa aja tuh, Amanda? Kayak in stop motion gitu.
There's, which I will show you later, but the one I made was using my own handmade sets and puppets, but sometimes people would they would go to the real world and animate real world objects into animations, and that's even more time consuming because you don't have a tiny set. You need to move around. That is called pixelation, and today it's used in commercials quite a bit.
Oh, wah, gila, padahal cuman dari stop motion aja, but actually masih ada pembagiannya lagi ya.
Yes.
Okay,
sometimes you can animate using charcoal or sand. I've seen those.
Wow. Well, wow, mediumnya berarti so varied. Okay. So that was about the form, yeah. But while you were studying atau when you decided to be more focused on the stop motion project gitu ya, what is your opinion or your perception about the aesthetic value of cartoons gitu? Because I think as we have mentioned several times before, that we are so used to the animation, like right, like we watch Disney movies, Pixar movies, which I think all the proportions look so good gitu, emang representing people in a normal way. But out there, it turns out that there are a lot of type of animation which actually it the form or the picture itself, it's so abstract, which like kayak ini gimana nontonnya atau
Yeah.
apa sih gitu. But did you learn about it in school, or like yeah, I don't know, like what is your opinion about the aesthetic value in cartoons or animations?
Yes, that's right. Because we're used to seeing, we call them representational. What I mean by representational is things or images that is familiar in form and shape. They represent something we know, like people, like concrete things, places. But the one you just mentioned, yeah, it seems more abstract. And I went to animation festivals.
Okay.
Until you go to animation festivals, you would think everything's just Disney and Pixar. But once you go to animation festivals, sometimes I myself, I'm like, what am I watching? But I think that's the beauty. And yeah, that goes into more experimental side of animation, which actually, surprisingly, is more common than we think. The ones that I have observed is they appear a lot in music videos. You won't find it in mainstream. Yeah.
Bener. Okay, since you have mentioned experimental animation, yeah, in your opinion gitu ya, how would you define the term experimental here? Okay. In what way an animation is experimental?
Yeah, that's a good question. Maybe to put it simply, because experiment means trying something, and in the context of animation or art, it's usually when the filmmaker or the animator, they push the medium they use to the limit, or they try to create something with innovative methods. But I know that when we say experimental, it can sound so scary. Like, what is this? Something only smart people know? I'm kidding. Because you're right, it's not easy to understand. But I don't quite agree, because I've seen very simple experimental animations with a very simple storyline that we can enjoy, and I actually want to show you one that I found. So, let me share screen. Yeah, I share the computer somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. So before I share screen, just want to say this animation is about two friends who sends bottle messages. Like, they put their message in a bottle and they send it across the ocean, and they just do it like as a communication. But there's something unique about the characters, which we will see. that was a bit of Few Seconds of Bottle by Christine
Yeah.
Lepore. It's really cute, yeah.
Jadi rambut.
Yeah.
Okay, but I think for me, I do not really know how is this movie can be considered as experimental gitu. So why is this movie considered experimental nih, Man?
Like I said earlier, this is one of the examples of somebody using real life environment. So I think the animator went to the beach and the snow area to create the characters. You don't really see this a lot in animation. And when animation has been dominated by something that's computer made or hand drawn, this artist actually uses everything around her to make an animation. And at the time she made it, I don't think there was a lot of animations like this.
Yes.
So that's pretty experimental, I think.
So
for time.
ini benar nggak nih kalau gue menarik kesimpulannya seperti ini ya. So experimental is not only just about kayak weird forms, bukan kayak weird pictures atau kayak anjing gambarnya abstrak gitu, but also in a way that we or the animator itself explore the medium as well berarti ya.
Yeah, that's right.
Oke. Lumayan mulai nangkep nih. Yeah, because I thought ya namanya juga eksperimental kan ya. The one that I used to watch ya, as you mentioned before, I think usually it is used for music video gitu kan, yang kayak formsnya atau yang kayak karakternya bentuknya kayak amuba gitu, yang kayak sini kayak
there is that, yeah.
Yeah, I thought itu terpaku atau kayak it's just stop in that definition only gitu lah. But yeah, from your example it helps me a lot that ternyata experimentals also includes to the medium as well. Berarti
That's right, yeah.
Okay, so that was about the form and then the aesthetic value. Now I would like to ask your opinion about the content itself sih, in terms of the story atau the issue that can be brought up or portrayed by animation movies gitu. When did you realize that actually animation movies gitu, animation project can be used to share or to show varied or various issues gitu, not only about kids stories or children stories, because one of the issue that I want to share here, but sometimes we relate cartoons or animation with kids only, right? But actually animation also made for adults and so on. So when did you realize that iya ternyata kartun itu isunya bisa varied banget gitu. Nah tuh gimana tuh, Man?
Yeah, that's a really good point, because I just want to share a funny story. When I was younger, I was watching an animation in my living room. It was it was for teenagers and above. And during a very important scene, my dad wanted to change the channel, and he said that channel is just for kids. And I remember being a bit annoyed because I was watching something that was very meaningful, and then he just thought it was for kids. And while a lot of animation is commercialized for kids, I do agree that I think it's very narrow if we think animation is only for kids. I think it's just the nature of animation that uses images and looks cute that we think it's for kids, but yeah. But I mean, in reality, I realized growing up, I think towards high school, that it's adults who make animations. Though we watch it as kids, but adults are involved in the process. They're the ones who think about what story needs to be put out there. They're the ones who's choosing what colors and how the characters look. And so sometimes I would rewatch Disney movies and some of the messages are only, I get the message more when I'm an adult than versus I was a kid. Yeah, but just want to talk about one example of a recently Oscar-winning short film, an animation. And because I studied in the US, I was exposed to a lot of people. I mean, I live with people who are from different countries.
Yes.
And because growing up in Indonesia, I don't meet a lot of people from other countries. I suddenly became aware of my own heritage. And I was very aware that people in the US struggled with, they still struggle with racism or issues. But what encourages me that a lot of animations right now are tackling those issues. So I cannot speak for them, but in my observation, I had an African American friend. One of the hot issues there is that they have naturally curly hair. They're very thick and curly, and it's their natural hair, but workplaces expect them to straighten their hair.
Really?
And I understand.
It happens?
Yes, so they feel like this is our natural hair. Why do you think our hair looks unprofessional when it's just natural hair? So I think there's been a movement, one of the things, like a huge movement to reclaim African American hair in the workplace.
But this hair.
Yeah, it's about hair.
Yeah.
Let's take a look a bit before I play it. This is about a girl who's struggling to style her hair, and she looks at video tutorials.
All right, here we go. See? Now, wasn't that easy?
A bit.
Yeah. Well,
Just want to say that, like a lot of, from what I observe in my friends, a lot of African American kids grew up having bad self-esteem because of their hair, and I think there's a lot of animation like this one that wants to empower African American women to reclaim their hair, that their hair is nothing to be ashamed of. And I think this is one of the best animations that I've seen tackling this issue. So loving their own self. Yeah.
Yeah, so sih. I think from your example you just showed us that walaupun bentuknya atau secara karakter dia masih kayak look so cute for kids and so on, but actually the issue itself is meant beyond than that gitu, kayak wow, iya sih benar. Now that there are a lot of issues can be portrayed or shared in animation. Okay, now I would like to ask about your opinion, regarding animation in Indonesia. Yeah, so, how do you see the development of animation here? Yeah, I think compared to any other countries, I think that's the part of the movie industry that we are least focus on mungkin ya, kayak nggak banyak kan kartun-kartun atau animasi yang made like from Indonesian made gitu. Nah, what is your opinion about Indonesian animation, and would you say there is the future of this animation in Indonesia tuh gimana gitu?
I would say that I've seen examples of it, but yes, it's been a long journey for Indonesian animation, and I'll be honest, I think we are still finding our voice. By voice, I mean it's one thing to, like, for example, if Pixar or a Western studio, they animate something about Indonesia or borrows elements of Indonesia in their animation. For example, the last one, like Raya.
Yes.
But it's another thing to have the animation of Indonesia by an Indonesian animator. It will have a different voice. So I think technology-wise and artistic-wise, I have seen some great works that are inspired by Pixar and adopts their style. what I have yet to see is animation that has a strong voice that like it's not borrowed from, the voice is not from a Western animator, but it's the voice of our own country, the voice of our own people, that it's incorporated to the animation. So that's what I would say. But I've seen, what I've been observing is there's a lot of talented animators in Indonesia, but they're rarely commercialized, or if they are, it's too independent of their own.
Yes.
Is there, like, I wonder if there's a way that these excellent animations can be more commercialized.
Yes.
There's,
Yeah.
if you look for some, there's a lot of great Indonesian animations, but they're not well known.
Yeah, benar. I think so that from your explanation, then I realized that we have the talents perhaps for now with the development of the technology, but again if there's no exposure kayak balik lagi jadi kayak problemnya sih ya, nggak banyak yang tahu ya. Even I remember ada satu episodenya of Carmen Sandiego di season 1 kayaknya dia penjahatnya tuh ke Indonesia gitu.
That's right. I saw that too.
I think that was like a memorable experience gitu yang kayak terus dia campur-campur aja gitu elements of Indonesia gitu kayak
Java campur Bali campur
Java, terus tiba-tiba mereka kejar-kejaran ada durian kayak di mana? Ya sih, balik lagi I guess problems related with exposure sih ya, because they're like really lack of exposure, akhirnya talented animator yang memang capable of showing our story itu nggak kelihatan. And then the animator that Western animator that is already there and observing us itu nggak memportray dengan tepat gitu ya berarti.
Okay. I actually want to add also that I know a lot of Indonesian independent animators win a lot of awards in another country. I've met someone who won awards in LA in prestigious animation festivals outside of Indonesia, but nobody knows about them in Indonesia. That's a problem.
Yeah, that's the problem. I think. Padahal kalau ngomongin talents we have quite a lot. Okay. So wow, obrolannya seru. But we have come to the last question now. Okay, for the last question in this episode, I would like to ask for a recommendation from you. Perhaps that for the listener or the audience of this podcast, they are so accustomed with Disney or Pixar style of animation. Perhaps you can give them another taste of animation. Nih, kalau lo mau ngerasain versi lain tuh, you should watch this, for example. Would you please give us recommendation that we should check that out?
I will mention 3, but I'll just show one trailer because the first 2 is quite popular. Maybe some of you have watched it, but I want to recommend. I consider this not like Pixar because it's commercial. You may have heard of this title. It's called Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which really impressed me. And it's not your regular animation. It adopts a lot of styles in one movie. Like sometimes you will have a black and white character meeting a 2D character in a 3D world. It's a realistic soup of different techniques. And the other one is, you might have heard also, it's really famous by Studio Ghibli. It's called Princess Kaguya, where it looks really like a Japanese ink drawing in each frame. It's really beautiful. So you don't need a lot of CG to explain your message across. But the final one I want to recommend is actually done by one of my university's teachers, which won an award also, an Oscar in 2014. Actually, 2014. I want to show a short trailer of it. So this is about a boy who grew up with wolves and later was adopted by a hunter and gave the boy education and civilization. and it's the story of him trying to find his identity because despite him being raised by wolves.
Wise, it quite remind me of Tarzan, tapi dia there are issues that apa ya ya as you said regarding embracing identity yang di situ kayak aduh sedih ya ya kayak I really felt that from the scenes that were shown that kayak like he's missing something, like he's like like the sadness is there again. So for the listener and for the audience, you should check it out. Okay, so I think we have come to the end of the podcast. Well, I would like to thank you for giving us another insight. Yeah, that was very nice to be able to talk with you about animation issues.
My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Things that we never talk about it gitu. I mean among friends or in class sometimes ya. Mungkin topik ini tuh wajar untuk yang film studies mungkin ya, atau yang kayak majoring in films atau majoring in DKV yang komunikasi and so on. But perhaps this episode helps students majoring in literature also to see ya medium bercerita tuh banyak banget, dan ya the challenge that we face juga beragam gitu. So that I think each episodes for me ya it makes me being able to appreciate things more. Kayak setelah episode ini gue nonton animation tadi kayak wah ini pasti susah bikinnya.
Yeah.
Oke deh kalau gitu. Terima kasih Amanda. Thank you so
Putri.
much for being the guest in this episode. Hope to see you soon. Terima kasih.
See you. Thank you. Terima kasih.